Stephanie Heath,
Sorry.
the founder of SoulWork Six Figures, your personal recruiter. Currently, I'm in a hotel room right now with my mother in the bathroom, so you may hear her. But yeah, so I started my career as a recruiter. I hired for every investment bank you can think of. I've managed the recruitment process at companies like Sony, Amazon. I've hired interns all the way up to CFOs. And so with SoulWork Six Figures, my company, we're kind of just devoted to helping soft-spoken men, women that are ambitious land competitive, soul-aligned offer packages with these competitive mission-driven companies. So that's what I do. I'm gonna stop talking now and hand it over to Nicole.
Yeah, so I'm super happy to be here. So Vekita is who's putting this on. That's the organization that I started. And I started it based off a guidebook that I wrote called Vekita Full Potential, which it's literally a guidebook that helps you figure out what it is that you want to do. And if you are in the best career alignment and how to get there, along with tips and tricks. I also contribute to Forbes on the future of work, and I started a nonprofit that helps high school students figure out what they want to be doing when they graduate from high school. So that's just a really brief overview of what it is that I do. And we're so happy to be here, to be helping you, to serve you through this difficult time. And so I guess let's jump in and start talking about career alignment. Right now, we're at an interesting place where a lot of people have gotten laid off and they have a fantastic chance to kind of do a reboot with their lives and their careers and what it is that they want to do. I actually just posted a video of Oprah talking to Trevor Noah about what it looks like for people who are successful. And the common thread, she said, is that people who know that people get to where they want to go because they know where they want to go. And I think that's so important. It's not only important for figuring out what you want to be doing, but also and actually being successful, but also for your well-being, for the work that you're going to be doing. There's a multitude of reasons why understanding who you are and what you want to be doing is incredibly important. It's like a ripple effect that spreads in positive ways throughout your life and throughout the lives of people that you touch. And the thing is that a lot of us get stuck in what it is that we've been doing for a long period of time because it's easy. It's scary when you want to transition. I totally understand that. But I really want to take this moment to give you the opportunity to look at your life in a new way and redesign it in a way that is more authentic with who it is that you are. So instead of being driven by what it is you think you should be doing, or maybe what other people think you should be doing, giving you the opportunity to really be able to do what you want to be doing and what is in best alignment with who you are. So the question is, what is it that you really want? And it's not an easy thing to define. It takes time and it takes effort. We are going to be going through some activities that will help you gain some clarity. But honestly, a lot of people want a quick fix and trying to figure out, okay, this is the job that I want to be doing. And it's just not that. But I will offer resources, the guidebook being one, but I really highly suggest if you do want to go through the guidebook to find a group of friends to go through it. I'm going to be creating a group. I'll be putting together an online course for people to go through to give that support. Self-reflection's hard. It's just really difficult. And so I want to see you all be successful with what it is that you want to be doing. So that being said, side note, I actually didn't, this just popped up, but it's holiday time too. And it's a great time if you do want to go through this. It could be a holiday gift and you can go through it with friends and having that support. It's really bonding. So let's just go into looking at what authenticity is and what it means to you. Oh, thank you, Ryan, for putting the website. I also am going to put in a discount code for you guys too as a gift. I'll put that in a second. And And so I'm really curious, like, what does authenticity mean to you? If you can put it in the chat, that'd be great. Or you can also put in like, who is somebody that is authentic that you look up to? And what does authenticity bring into your life and into other people's lives? You can choose any one of those questions. I just really want to get the juices going around authenticity and the importance of authenticity, because I think there's so many times that we may dismiss some things that are really important to us, and we go against what is authentic. And living in authenticity, if you are unauthentic, it's going to create barriers and tension within yourself and potentially within other people as well. So I really want to see you guys living more authentically who you are. So what do we have? Living true to your highest self, honesty, embracing with passion. Yep. Self-expression most of the time. Absolutely. Yeah, these are good. And who do you think, and Stephanie, I'm curious, maybe you have an answer to this too, like who is somebody that you feel like is really, truly authentic? Like you feel it. One of the people that comes to mind is one of my board members for my nonprofit, Brian Breckenridge. He's like the most authentic dude. He's so who he is, and it's always inspiring and uplifting for me to like be around him. Can you think of anybody, Steph?
Yeah, I mean, the person that is that person for me is Meghan Markle. I know people may have opinions about her, but if you look at her interviews back when she was an actress, she was really opinionated, and she kind of ruffled feathers of folks when she was in the room, and she'd kind of just be really direct. And so we see her now as this princess, and she's poised and everything, but she seems to me to be someone that's very direct and isn't afraid to, upset folks with her truth. So that's someone. We have a client, he's a very soft-spoken male. I'm obsessed with him. His person was Stephen Curry or Steph Curry. So we had him kind of take on that persona during his interviews. And just to kind of share this, Nicole, if you can kind of tap into who you are and what you really want as you're interviewing, it just becomes a lot easier for you to sell yourself into that role, because it's like, this is what I like, this is what I enjoy doing. I can speak on this topic easily versus trying to be someone else and appear that way for the interviewers. So it is a good exercise to do, practically speaking, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. People can feel into when you're being authentic and when you're not. Thank you, Steph. That's like really helpful. And I think we can all feel into when somebody's being unauthentic as well, right? It's like, there's this really great book and I'm blanking on the name of it, but it is all about living authentically and connecting with people and what that looks like and how that feels and the importance of it. It is key to your success as well in being authentic. People sense it, like whether or not we know exactly what it is, we can sense it. So authenticity is key. And I'm going to go into some ways that we can start looking at how you can live more authentically. And that's what the guidebook is all about. And that's what my expertise is all about as well. So let's jump in here. I want to give kind of an overview of all the different elements that make you who you are and how to find that ideal career. So I envision who we are as individuals. It's kind of like a tree, whereas the roots of who we are our knee-jerk reaction, the nature and the nurture. And that's the part that's going to be with us consistently throughout time. And the trunk of the tree is the different pieces of who we are, our passions, our skills, our likes, our dislikes, values, leadership, personality, work-life balance, how we want to feel, things like that. Those things are usually pretty solid as well, but can shift. The things that really shift over time are your perspective and life experiences. That's what changes things. But for the most part, a lot of the knee-jerk reactions and the things that are really important to us stay the same. And then when you look at what is the right job, I don't believe that there is always one specific job that is perfect for you. Sometimes, yes. But I think that it's that there are multiple jobs that are perfect for you, and it's about which branch of that tree is the right branch for this season of your life. And understanding the core attributes of who you are, you can adapt when you need to adapt. So if a perspective changes, or if a family situation changes, like you have a child or you need to take care of a loved one or whatever that is, that you can adapt and shift really quickly. Or if something changes in the world, like the layoffs happen, you can also adapt really, really quick. So having the tools of understanding the core attributes of who you are is incredibly helpful. So let's dive in. I'm going to go over a couple of different things tonight with you. And like I said, these are just like little tastes, little bits, because we only have a little bit of time together. I wish I could just gift you with all of it, because that's my passion. That's my mission in life, is to really have people come into their authenticity. And so we're going to go into first passion and skills, and then likes and dislikes. And then I want to kind of touch on something that we don't talk about often, especially when it comes to career stuff, is how do you want to feel? So the first thing with passion that I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some prompted questions that are in the guidebook. So let me just open this up. And you don't have to answer this in the chat. This can absolutely stay private, but get a pen and paper so that you can write this down. You can also write it on your phone, but I prefer pen and paper because it's easy to look at. There's something actually about writing it that I feel like really makes it more concrete. So let's jump in here. All right, so settling into passion. So get your pen and paper, maybe take a deep breath as we like transition into doing some of these new exercises. All right, so for passion, I get joy talking about blank. What is something that you love talking about? So go ahead and write that down. You're welcome to also put it in the chat. Something that I could do for 8 hours and not get tired of is, those times for me, like when I'm in creative mode and I'm super inspired, I can just continue going nonstop. Like I stay up night, like late nights, like I'll work throughout the day, I'll work throughout the night, just getting things done because I love it. Like I'm super inspired. And Stephanie's putting in the chat too the prompts. Thank you, Stephanie. You're wonderful. So happy that you're here with me. All right, the next prompt is, if I didn't go to school or work for a week, or if I didn't go to work for a week, I'd spend the time doing what? If you had a whole week to yourself, what would you do?
Can you repeat that one?
Yeah, of course. If I didn't have to go to work for a week, what would I spend the time doing? Yeah, Ryan, I know you'd be traveling. I am happiest when I am. When do you feel the most joyful? When are you happiest? And you might find with some of these answers that it could be that like I'm happiest when I'm around people. And that can be an indicator of something that can be helpful for your life, for your work-life balance. It can be helpful for work. So if you are somebody that really enjoys being around people, you know that in your career, you're also going to want to be around people. All right, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'm going to go through a couple more. I use my creativity to, how do you use your creativity? And when I say creativity, that could be innovative thinking, that could be analytical thinking, that could be like creativity comes in so many different forms. So whatever creativity means for you, it could be designing something, it could be actually like painting something. So what does creativity look like for you? All right, the next one is, I have always wanted to learn more about blank. What is something you've wanted to explore? one of the things about passion that's really, really interesting, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions with passion, is that people think that you just are born into something. And in fact, Stanford, I think it was psychologists, they did a study finding that passion is actually not always something that you know that is inherent to you, that actually passion is something that you have to try first. And then once you master it, then you might find that you're passionate about it. So like, for example,
You need a diaper?
Oh, I don't.
Oh.
I muted you, but that was sweet. Thank you. So one of the things that I would say is that I would say about passion that I put in the guidebook is that so salsa dancing is something that I wanted to try. It was something I was interested in, and I went and I tried, and I wasn't good. So I wasn't passionate about it when I wasn't good. I took lessons and I got to know it more. And as I got to know it more and I felt more comfortable and more confident, then that's when I felt more passionate about doing salsa dancing. So I just wanted to give that perspective on passion. So if you still aren't sure of what your passion is, somebody told me once, as a psychologist, he said, go around and ask, what can you fall in love with today? And just approach the world in that way. What is something that you can fall in love with, especially if you're looking at your career? You can even pick up magazines and be like, would I love doing this as my career? Would I be passionate about this? Just look at different things, see what inspires you, think outside of the box. Let's do 2 more prompts on this one. So, I am the first person my friends call when they need help with blank. Again, what is something that I'm the first person my friends call when they need help with blank? All right. And for the last one, I have gotten compliments about my ability to. You can think about, maybe it's somebody that knows you that's given you a compliment. Maybe it was a stranger that gave you a compliment as well. Like sometimes people who don't know us well can pick up on certain things that are incredibly apparent, and it can be a good indicator. Sometimes they could be totally off, but you know when it's authentic and when it's right and when it's not. All right, so that's what we're going to do with passion. There is also on my website, there's a passion visualization. I'll just put in again the website. There is a passion visualization that you can go through, because passion is not something you can like test or check off boxes. Like it's something that you have to go inside to like really surface. But what you can like surface that is easy to look at is, what are your skills? And so also next to passion, if you can write out whatever you've written for your prompts with passion, next to that, put your skills, both hard skills and soft skills. And I just want to really clearly define, hard skills are like more like tangible skills that you can learn. Well, you can learn any of the skills, but things such as language or coding or marketing, those are all hard skills. Soft skills are people skills, such as leadership, empathy, emotional intelligence, stuff like that. So write down, what are some of your hard and soft skills? And if you want, as you're brainstorming this piece, after you're done brainstorming this piece, you can underline the thing that you do the best and circle what it is that you love doing the most. And the great thing about skills is that they can be built. So and as an optional thing that you can do with all of this is a skill that you want to be looking at. Especially if you are looking for a different career. It might mean that you have to build some new skills. And if you are looking for a new career, your skills are usually transferable. It's incredible, like how a specific skill set you've been doing can transfer into a new career, and that's what you want to be looking at. And I recommend going through and looking at, if you are transitioning careers, what are the skills that you have? And then when you look at different jobs in which you're interested in, then you can take that and you can ask, friends and family, or you can hire somebody like Stephanie, who's a coach, and go through how do these skills actually transfer into this new job that I'm doing. I like having it be an interactive thing. Sometimes these things are better done with somebody. So I do recommend that.
Awesome.
And the last thing that well, actually, there's two pieces. Oh, did you want to say something, Stephanie? I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
Okay. Oh, and how are we on time? Oh, I need to hand it over to you, don't I? Okay. All right. So I'll just say this last piece. So likes and dislikes, it sounds like passion, but it's not. Look, it can be, but it can also be something that is unrelated to what your specific passion is. Take a look at your job and all the things that you were doing in your job previously, or any of experience that you've had, and look at what do you like the most, and on the opposite side, what do you dislike. What I find with a lot of people is the things that they like are going to be the opposite of their dislikes, or if they dislike something, it's going to be the opposite in terms of their likes. So going back to like people person, if you're a people person, you're going to love working with people and you're going to dislike being alone, right? So they kind of go hand in hand. So I strongly recommend writing down a list of likes and dislikes. And I am now going to pass this over to Stephanie. And as she's going and going into all of this, I'll also put down some of our information as well, and discount codes that both of us are going to be offering for you guys.
Okay. Thank you, Nicole. All right, so we definitely have a small group. I don't want this training to go longer than an hour. So what's next is just some really practical branding pieces. So understanding what titles you're going to be targeting, what seems interesting to you, what's credible for you based on your background, and then some tips and tricks to get recruiters' attention on LinkedIn. So before I jump into that piece, I just want to check in, see how everyone's feeling. If you did come to this training more so because you were concerned with what this next step of your career will look like, then let me know in the chat. If you kind of know where you'd like to take your career and you really want some of the more practical branding piece, then let me know as well. And then if you do have a question, something around getting that clarity, maybe go off mute now or just drop it in the chat, just share it with us. Because like I said, what we're about to do now is just that branding piece, that getting recruiters' attention, branding yourself properly on LinkedIn to get more interview requests without doing the work attached to it. So how are we feeling? How did we feel about the clarity piece? Do you have more questions about that? Is that something that you'd like to pursue later on? We can offer more free resources or paid resources for that. I just want to kind of temper check a little bit and see how we're doing. All right, so Patty, Tara, Payal, Crystal, William, Kevin, Don, Bala, Monica, Laura, how are you guys feeling? Okay, you could put like an emoji. We'll do that. It's late. It's 8:30 ET time for me, so an emoji. So you guys are good with the clarity piece? All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll get started. So I'm actually just going to treat this like a client session. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm sharing. William's like, yes. Okay, great. Awesome. So, for our clients, when we think about them wanting to transition their career, just know this. Let's say you've built a career in HR, you've built a career in sales, and you want to be a graphic designer. Someone as a former recruiter that hired for everything, there's a way that you can do it. So I may not have the best vocabulary, but we can sell you into that role really easily. So now we'll kind of talk about how you can kind of do that. So the first step is to, number one, know what role you're going to be targeting. Maybe you'll have 1 to 2 roles that are similar. So let's say you want to be a TPM, a tech project manager, and you've also ran some programs before, and you are really good at kind of getting people organized, all those things. So you're going to be targeting maybe like a TPM role and a program manager role. Those roles work really well together. We'd want to start with, when we're thinking about the branding, starting with your headline space on LinkedIn to get that started. So we'll go ahead and we'll use my profile as just an example. And you guys can let me know if, you have a more dirty question, like you have a work gap that you want to speak of, you have no experience and you don't know how to make that work for you. If you have those pointed questions, put them in the chat, because we do only have 30 minutes left. Otherwise, I'm just going to go through the basics that you should be doing when you're trying to transition into a new career or just get more eyes on your profile. So for your headline space, this is where you just want to call yourself the role that you're targeting. So the default way that LinkedIn kind of has your headline is job title at company name. You want to keep that the same, because if you change it around too much, a recruiter is going to think you're in sales, you're trying to sell them something. They're just going to see that that's sort of like a red flag for them. So it shouldn't say something like this. Instead, it should say something like, let's go with the program manager example. So the headline would say, project manager, so project program manager at company name. And then I know you guys have noticed people are kind of branding themselves in their headline. You would want to use this space to call out that specific industry or that function. So if you're a TPM, you'd maybe want to say something like TPM, or you'd want to say technical project manager. If you are in the fit tech world, something like that. So just use that space to really get that niche keyword in there. In terms of whether you're choosing project or program manager, if you're really wanting to be a program manager, but you have been a project manager and you're applying to those roles, you'd want to keep the program manager title the same, so there's no slash in between it, because the algorithm will pick that up more, if that makes sense. And so let's say that in your role now, you are an analyst and you've assisted on projects, you've almost led projects, but then in this next stage of your career, you're going to be targeting those roles. If that's the case, then maybe you could go with analyst and project manager at company name. So although, your title isn't quite project manager at that company right now, we called out what your real title is, and we still want to keep this keyword in there. All right, so let me know how that feels. If you guys are aware of that already, if you have a more actual question about, your LinkedIn, let me know in the chat. If not, I'm just going to keep going. But so that's the first step, is just your headline needs to be right. The next step is that you are going to want to open up the open to work section and make sure that you're choosing those 5 titles. Don't choose the title that you have now, choose the title that you're targeting. Keep yourself open to contract roles, because you can get contacted for a contract to perm position, and you want to take as many interviews as you can so that you can play those offers against each other towards the end. So even if you're taking a few interviews that you're not that obsessed with in the beginning, that's fine. Remote, make sure that all of that stuff is kind of taken care of. You can do immediately, and then, if you're someone that has maybe less than 4 years of experience, you can go ahead and have it open to all members, because it's not that big of a deal, maybe 3 years of experience. But if you have about 4 or 5 years of experience, you probably want to be a little bit more discreet in your search. Perfect. So now in terms of your about section, so when recruiters are looking to headhunt you, they're not really reading the about section at all. This section is to get the hiring manager, your peers that you're going to be interviewing with, having them fall in love with you before meeting you. And you'd be surprised how often someone will be hired based on their likability, their fit within the company versus what they're really bringing to the table. So it makes a lot of sense to actually spend some time and pour your heart and soul into that section. Let me show you someone who does a really great job of this. I actually helped write this young lady's summary section. And if you're an executive, you definitely want to have something like this. So just spend that time, make it, throw some emotive language in there, and then definitely brag a lot, but you do want to make use of this about section. All right. And so in terms of your experience section, some key things that I see people missing out on is not using a job description. So let's say if you're that project manager that's trying to become a TPM at Amazon. So the recruiters at Amazon are searching for folks that already have TPM in their title. So let's say you're basically a technical project manager, but you don't have that title, then you're definitely going to want to change your title on LinkedIn to match what the market is calling you so that recruiters can actually find you. And then when you have your resume, obviously you can, have the title be what it is, and then in parentheses put, technical project manager. Another thing you can do is when you update the title to what the market is calling you, in that first sentence in the experience section, if you're someone that is going to make use of the experience section, then you can put, internal title is project manager, something like that, so that you're being really forthcoming about everything. Now, if you're in an industry where people are visiting your profile and it's really difficult to kind of, use some of these tips to work on your profile, then I would suggest that you get on a call with someone that does this for a living so that they can kind of get around that. But just know, if you're not in sales, if you're not working for the city or for the government, it's not a big deal. No one's really going to be visiting your profile, and it would make more sense to just change that title so that the recruiters can find you. I'm noticing that for some industries like legal, a lot actually, the trend isn't to have an experience section that is really busy. So just visit other folks that have the titles that you're targeting and see how they're writing their LinkedIn profiles, and then kind of follow that. For me as a recruiter, I definitely want to see more text because the algorithm will pick up on those keywords and you'll rise in a recruiter search. So, I would want you to have more text there, but if you are someone that's in the legal field where they literally just have their title, the school they went to, and that's it, then, keep it the same. Something else that I noticed that people don't do is that if you've been unofficially promoted, or you've taken on more direct reports that aren't really your direct reports, or you've been given more work, more projects to lead, you want to show that on LinkedIn and on your resume. So even if the promotion wasn't official, you still want to have, my first year I was responsible for Asia Pacific region. And then in my second year, I took, Africa, Americas. Like, you want to show that and have that title be changed as well. So that's really important. I know for a lot of you, you're going to say that, oh, if someone visits my profile, they can see that I didn't get that promotion. And, you don't want to change your title if someone in the org has that title that you'd be taking. But if that's not the case, then just make sure that you're showing the progression of your career. So I'll stop talking really quickly now just to see if you have any questions about what I just shared. And if not, I'll just go down to the skills section. Okay, so how are you feeling about that? Maybe put like a thumbs up or an emoji or something. Let me know. And then also what would be helpful is to know what you guys do for a living, what industry you're in, what industry you're looking to pivot into. That can help me give you more targeted feedback on what you'd be needing to do. So you may want to do that as well. All right, so back to sharing screen. So your skills section, so LinkedIn recently rolled out this thing where you can't add your skills at the bottom of your profile anymore. You have to add it and attach it to a role. And it's really helpful. Your profile will show up 30% more than the average person if you have those skills there. So let's say that you are in DE&I or you're in change management. You're going to want to make sure that change management is one of your top 5 skills at that role, so that, again, you're making use of the algorithm. So we talked about the headline space. We talked about behind the scenes, the open to work section. We talked about titles. We talked about showing promotions. I want to say those are the big areas. Everything else is not that important. It's great to have recommendations. Definitely ask for some. The easiest way to get someone to give you one is to give one in advance and then, request one back. You can also just write the recommendation for someone if you're early in your career. Hey, I wrote this little template for you to use. Can you, edit it, and I'd love to put it on my profile. That's fine. Busy people that want to help you will do it. So I want to say that's it. Now I'm going to talk about how to get these recruiters to see you.
You also have a couple of questions in the chat here.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So we have diversity recruiting, Emily, really hot space right now. So you are a diversity recruiter. Okay. And then Tara's a recruiter as well, looking at pivoting to project management. So Tara, you're definitely going to want to list out all of your projects that you've led, assisted on, supported on, and let that be the first thing that people see on your resume. So you'll have the company name, the title, and this goes for your resume as well. You'll have a summary sentence, recruiter on the blank team, hiring for blank regions, project managed on XYZ. And then the next bullet points need to be all of those brag-worthy things. So spearheaded diversity initiative for 2015, blah, 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 resulted in blah, blah, blah. Those first 3 or 4 bullet points should be only related to your project management work. And I would actually suggest that you change your title to project manager / recruiter, or like project manager and HR on LinkedIn. And then on the resume, you can have it in the same way with the slash in between, and then have 2 sections showcasing that work. So let me know if that makes sense to you. But the whole point of LinkedIn is to get seen. So look at it as from that standpoint, and then make changes from there. All right, so Ryan.
Add really quick to Tara's, and then
Yeah.
Is that a couple of things in terms of pivoting, similar to what I was saying earlier, is that write out all of your skills, everything that you've done in HR, and then try to like mind map and brainstorm how it's transferable into what it is that you're doing. And you might want to sit down with somebody to do some mind mapping of the skills and the specific tasks that you've done, and how that can jump over into the new career that you're wanting to do. And the second thing that I would just throw out there as a suggestion is you may want to also volunteer. It's a great way to get experience and put that on your resume as well.
Love that, Nicole. Jump in at any time. You're more than free to do that. And you guys can jump off mute as well if you have just like a quick question. We want to make sure you get everything you need by the time we're done. So Tara, these are some things I would highlight. As a recruiter, we're always looking at what job descriptions work the best. What time of day is posting is the best, blah, blah, blah. You want to highlight all of that. Basically, just like your results and your wins and anything that you've kind of led. So taking the lead on managing from start to finish, people always want to see scope. So what was the budget? Were you managing vendors? Did you have a bunch of agency recruiters working for you, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that stuff needs to be important. And I forgot to tell you guys this part. So when you're writing your resume and your LinkedIn, the easiest way to do that is just to grab the job description of the role you're targeting. So don't use the job description of the role you're going to apply to, but instead find an old position that's like 3 months old or something, and it's perfect, and use those bullet points to build out your resume and your LinkedIn. So Ryan says, does it make sense to go through a job description posted in a job board? And oh my God, yes, Ryan. High five. Definitely. Okay, awesome. So Kevin said, currently a digital analyst contractor, looking to be hired for perm, new role in my current organization is business intelligence. Got it.
So really quick, sorry, one more thing to Ryan's point too, is like your resume should be adaptable. And when you are applying to a specific job, like a lot of recruiters have told me, because they've got a tip section at the end of the guidebook, is to adapt your resume, especially if you're applying to like bigger companies. Reflect the very specific language in which that company is recruiting for. So reflect what it is that they're looking for. Some big companies have an automated system that will scan your resume for keywords, and you want your resume you don't want it to get knocked out of the running just because you don't have those keywords in there. But then, as Stephanie was saying, with your LinkedIn, it has to be more generalized. You want to create something that is going to have things like, if you're pivoting from HR into what was it again? Into
anything, doesn't matter.
Anything, yeah, it doesn't matter.
We're using project managers.
You're gonna want to put it up there and be more generalized. Whereas with the resumes, have it adaptable and have it be specific to where you are applying. Okay.
All of that is super true. Another little trick you can use is on job descriptions, you'll notice the responsibilities, preferred, and then like a description of what this person is. So it may say, looking for eager people person to blah, blah, blah. You can use that language to write your summary and your about if it's true for you. So using that language to at least influence how you're speaking about yourself is always really helpful. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so this is for, I think, Kevin. This is like a three-pronged approach. If you're looking to move up within your organization, Nicole is a great resource for you, but you're definitely going to be wanting to meet with HR, and just let me know if that's the question, right? Meeting with HR, understanding when this role will be released, if it's going to be released internally before externally, how much time do you have before they're going to be hiring for this role? How have you proved your worth yet? Have you like kept account of all the wins you've been able to produce? And if you haven't, what can you do now to kind of get that happening? Also being able to take on that work or joining that team so that you have some of that experience, and always updating your LinkedIn and your resume to reflect it. So you can get off mute and like respond and let me know if that was the question you were looking to get an answer to. But
it's all about people. All of this is all about people. So if you're currently a contractor and you're wanting a more permanent position, like make friends with the people, show the results that you have. I also really like there to be like a mentor within an organization that can help you navigate some of the politics that might be happening internally. That can also be really helpful as well. So see if you can find some advocates within the company, make friends with people, and just show up. Like the best thing that you can do is putting your best foot forward and creating whatever it is that you're doing within your job, like producing it in a high quality manner and showing up to network and make friends with people and just having good interactions with people. But people, like that's what makes the world go round. And that's like 80% of jobs are not even posted. People get them through their networks. So people is key. And the more I live, the more I learn. That's with everything. So make friends with the people that are there and see if you can find your way to a more permanent position. Wishing you luck with that.
awesome. So you can let us know if that helped, Kevin, but I think within 3 months, 3 to 6 months, you should have a solid argument for getting that role. And if you want more information or you want someone to kind of get in with you, we have negotiation offers as well. So we can kind of support you through that. Okay, everyone's so shy. I get it. All right, so you have access to this doc. So for every single role that you apply to, you have to connect with 1 to 3 recruiters at the company. So on the doc, it shows how to do it. I'll just quickly show it here. Let's say you find a role at Amazon, you applied via Google or something. You want to go back to LinkedIn, go to the page here, go to the people section, type in recruiter first. If that doesn't pop up, if it's like a startup or if it's like a finance company, you can type in talent acquisition. And if that doesn't pop up again, if it's like a really tiny company, 10 people, then you can put in human resources. And so whoever has like that HR title, that's who you want to message. For all of us, we want to think about who would respond to us the easiest, right? So if you're a young lady, for some reason, men are really nice. Like they'll respond to you a lot quicker. Younger people that have been with the organization for 3 to 6 months are usually really helpful. So let's start that. So Amazon has an army of recruiters. So you'll type in recruiter, maybe you're in Washington, the role's there, so you'll filter for that. And then let's say you are trying to target a TPM role, which is on the tech team, then you'd want to message one of these people, right? Don't message the managers, HR managers, VP of HR. Don't message the coordinators. If you find a sourcer, someone with like recruiting sourcer, something like that, message that person. If you don't see anyone at all and they have like a DE&I person, they tend to be really helpful. But so yes, so at an Amazon, you can message up to 5 people. But for every company, you want to message at least 3, as long as it's a company that has like about 50 people or more working there. And so what you'll do is you'll press the connect button and then you'll add a note. And then you can copy and paste any of these that seem to really work well for my clients. So if you're someone that's more direct, you're an SVP and EVP, and this isn't how you speak, then you can edit it. But the point is that you want to copy and paste the message into the connection request so that you don't have to purchase LinkedIn Premium. And then what'll happen is that these recruiters are busy. They'll accept it. Maybe 20% will respond to you. The minute that they accept it, but they don't respond to the message, you want to jump back into that profile and send another message. So I'm going to stop share really quickly, log into a client's LinkedIn, and I'm going to kind of just show you some of the stuff that's worked for us. So you want to be really respectful, not entitled, and just like, oh, thank you so much for connecting, considering, we're not acquainted. I really just wanted to put this back on your radar because this role is really aligned with my values and what I can bring to the table, et cetera, et cetera. Would you happen to know the best person or the HR responsible for this role? Would you happen to know if this role is still accepting, resumes? Sending, crossing my fingers that I get, contacted to move forward in the process. Like just sending any kind of message after they connect with you is going to be really important because you just really want them to see your profile. And if they don't respond to that second message, that's fine. You move on to the next role. But what likely will happen is that they'll say, oh, it's not my role, it's XYZ's role, or, oh, sure, I forwarded your resume to the person responsible. And you just really want to be super kind. So you can say, wow, thank you so much. Like I wasn't even expecting you to respond. Please let me know if I can ever help you out in any way in the future. Just like really nurture those relationships that you're making. And even though we're kind of copying and pasting the same thing to each recruiter, you want to like send them some love when you send it and like actually feel that gratitude when you're responding back to them. I feel like it does make a difference. And we've seen our clients get like the craziest things because they've just been nice to people. And they also have their LinkedIn on their phone and they respond to messages as soon as they receive it. So let me just quickly see if I can show you a message. And then if you have any questions about that, you can let us know. We do have 10 minutes left. So if there's anything else about either the application strategy or the branding piece, you can let us know now. And if there's anything that you want to talk through with Nicole about just that clarity, we can talk about it now. All right, so here's a perfect message, sharing the screen. So my client sent that message. She's targeting executive director, early clinical scientist. She's amazing. And she sent over the message. Someone responded back, I'll forward this to the recruiter. Thanks for applying. She said, thank you so much. And so, yeah. So that's just like a really easy to get an interview request. And so this is the last thing. I know we have a ton of recruiters on the call, so you can say that this is true, but recruiters spend most of their time headhunting and poaching other candidates at other companies that are happily employed. For some reason, 70% of the applications that we get are always not a good fit. So we will literally check our applications maybe 3 times a week, but we're in LinkedIn sending messages to the folks we're looking to poach all day, every day. So the minute you can jump into their inbox and be a good fit for that role is the minute that you get an interview request and a teammate that's on your team because you're so nice to them. All right, so do we have any final questions about that? Let me stop sharing. And how do you guys feel about that? Let me just see.
Those were all really great tips, Stephanie. Thank you.
Yep. William is like, that's true. All right, awesome. Does it make sense to create templates? Yeah. So Ryan, even those 3 that are highlighted yellow, those are the ones that we use, but my clients will like edit them a little bit. So I think one of the messages is just like, is this role still available? So if the role was released that week, that message you obviously wouldn't want to use. You could say something like, just wanted to see if you knew who the best person would be to contact about this role, or who's the HR responsible for this role. Like that kind of a message could work. If it's Thanksgiving or Christmas time, you can add those sort of like, niceties to the message as well. All right.
Stephanie, I'm just going to add in again your information and also Vekita's information here. And maybe we can also use some of this time to kind of expand on what it is that we can do. And we'll still take questions. So please, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. And I just want to again, mention like the guidebook that I created. It's great for getting clarity. It is like literally like a guidebook, like a workbook almost, or like a career journal. And it's broken down into weeks, and so that it can really help take you through the pieces of honing in on all the intricate parts that make you who you are. And then how does that pair with careers and figuring out specifically the career. And then from careers, it gives you tips for getting hired. So it really takes you the full way. And again, I highly recommend going through the guidebook with a group of friends. And I will be soon putting out a career course. There is a live career clarity course that I've got, but I'm going to be doing also one that can be like more reasonably priced that you can access to lead you through the guidebook. That will be up soon. And if you want, visit the website for 20% off with discount code What's Next 22. And feel free to apply that to if you want to get books for gifts for people too. It's a good stocking stuffer. Got tongue-tied there for a second. But it's a great gift, especially with so many people that are going through this. And it can be a great thing to be doing in the new year that you can do as a group together. And it's really bonding to understand and learn all the different parts of who you are. So you would take the guidebook and go through the different weekly assignments. And in between then, you guys can have conversations and just deepen those learning. So I hope that's really helpful. I hope you put that to use. And more to come soon in terms of the online course. So that's what I wanted to offer to you all today. And Stephanie, do you want to talk about like what it is that you do in your programs too?
Yeah, and so I'll invite you guys, if you're not willing to work with either of us one-on-one, or you kind of got what you needed, you're free to say goodnight. I know it's 9 p.m. almost here. So thank you for joining. If you do want to hear a little bit about what our services are, I'll jump into that now. So I have a free Facebook group. It's a community for typically soft-spoken folks that are ambitious, making at least 6 figures in their career and either looking to pivot or just join a company that values them. The link to join that is in the chat. Outside of that free group, I do have a signature program. It's a 10-week program working with me one-on-one and my 2 co-coaches. We have a leadership and strategist coach and a energy healer. And so we work with you for 10 weeks to get that soul aligned position. You know, our clients typically get about 15K more than if they kind of did all this on their own. I'd be handling all the branding for you, mock interviews, negotiation piece. So the link to learn more about that is there. And outside of that, if you want to just have a quick session with me, 1 hour to kind of look at your LinkedIn, tell you what you need to do, look at your resume, happy to do that as well. And then a 2-hour session to really talk more about how to pivot into that role from a strategy piece. So that's it for me. It's been so lovely to help you guys. My email's in the chat. Email me anytime.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie, for participating in this. And I'll also post this online, this video. I'll put it in the LinkedIn, on Vekita's LinkedIn page if you want to go through any of the previous things that we talked about. So I will have it there, or if you feel like this session would be helpful for somebody that you know. Thank you all so much for joining. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, see some familiar faces. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.
Done. Okay, all right. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.